Hey, what is going on, Cowboy Nation? You already know it's Wednesday. It's 6:30 our new time. My name is Paul Spencer, and of course, I'm with my buddy here, Cowboy Dave Yarnell. The 215 boys are in the house. Dave, how are you feeling, brother? How you been?
I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How was your New Year, first of all, man?
My New Year was good. I got to spend it with some friends at we went to Coco's in Aston and we got to watch the college games with the Michigan and
There you
and the
go.
Georgia games and it was really fun. Good time.
Now,
Foggy, but good time.
now, Dave, you know why I'm a big college fan, right? Now you see
Yes.
why, right? Are you? I'm going to
Yep.
ask you one question real quick, not Cowboy related. Are you hooked on college football? Yeah, like I told you, you should be.
On the bowl games I am.
On the
Yes.
bowl.
I'll
That's a
get
start, Dave.
yeah,
That's a start.
on the
That's a
bowl
start.
games.
That's
Yeah, I'll
definitely
give
a
you
start.
that.
That's definitely
But
a start,
that
Dave.
Michigan game was insane. Oh my gosh.
Dave,
Hey,
I think all the games this weekend were insane. I mean, from top to bottom. But speaking
mhm.
of college football, right after this show, 8 o'clock, college football frenzy with myself, Joe Sullivan, Mike Lauro, Bill Furman's going to be hopping on tonight. Mike Lauro, Sean Kilrain, and we also have one of Joe's friends hopping on. So if you're a college fan, check that out. 8 o'clock right after here. We got a lot to talk about on college football, but this ain't about college football here, Dave. I
College
mean,
football. What's with
yes, this,
college
yeah,
football?
what I'm saying about college football. Now we did have a game last week, Dave. What was that team we played in last week, Dave? What was that team that put a team on the field and actually
I think
gave
it
us a game? What
think it was
team
the
was that?
Tennessee. Was it the Tennessee Titans? Is
I think it
that?
was. Let's recap this, Dave. Now, listen. Now we had a special guest on last week from Titans Up podcast, Titans Live
Yes.
podcast, and he even said he was like, "Wow, I could probably see this game being 40 to about 17, if that area." But Dave, this was actually a game we had here.
I know.
What?
I was following it while I was at the WWE event with my daughter in Hershey, and
Oh,
I was like, uh oh, you know.
Dave, I mean, listen, 27-13, Dave, that wasn't something we looked at, that a final score. I mean, that
No,
probably would have been a first half score with this
right.
team. But Dave, explain to me, like, what the hell happened here? Like, what did we see?
Well, I think Tennessee actually came to play. They had something to play for,
What's
and
going on, brother?
What's going
they,
on?
Good,
there
good.
he is. Hello,
Yeah.
Matt,
sir.
Matt, now we're talking about this team that we played last week. We thought we were playing a freshman high school team, man. That damn varsity team showed up with the Titans last week. I don't know
Mhm.
what happened. Like, with nobody out there. I mean, we made Dobbs look like a mediocre quarterback, but playing at a good level. He played a great
Mhm.
game. I understand, the hidden identity. We don't know what he can do. We don't have game film on him. But man, we make no excuses, Matt. We don't make any excuses here.
Nope.
Mhm.
Explain to me what happened when we all projected 40 plus points. Even Tyler from the podcast live podcast, Titans Live, said it would be a blowout.
Mhm.
Explain to me this 27-13. A
Hey,
win is a win game, but a win is not what I this kind of win I didn't want to see last
hey,
week.
before you explain, Mr. Tower of Power, at least we did cover. That's the one thing we
What?
did do. So go ahead.
Oh,
Yes,
Dave.
but I mean, listen. Here's the thing. I said it last show. I say it every single week. We play an underdog team. We
Mm-hmm.
play down to their level,
Yep.
and that's what happened. We were
Mhm.
sitting here playing comfortably, thinking, we're going to get the win anyway, and that's exactly how they played.
Mhm.
They
Agree.
were looking past it, and you never look past a
No.
any team in the NFL.
Agree.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But
100%.
we played down to their levels, and it comes to a point where we almost end up losing these games. If it's not for one of the turnovers
Mm-hmm.
and getting points off of them,
Yeah.
we've seen plenty of games where we've turned over the ball or we've gotten turnovers and have put no points on the board, and it
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
hurts us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just look at some of the stats here. I mean, Dak had an okay game, but the first half he was off. Like we've seen what he did. The play down to your team's opponent's level. Dak showed up in the first half. Basically, I mean, he
Right.
was 29 for 49, 282, two touchdowns, but once again, those two picks.
Right.
Matt, I think it's
But
exactly what you're saying. Playing down to your level here, man. That's what you're doing.
Well,
now
Matt, I saw.
one thing with the picks, all right,
Mhm.
there's only one interception, and that was right before halftime. He threw in a double coverage
Right.
Yes.
or triple
Mm-hmm.
coverage, maybe, which
Right.
was a terrible option.
Mhm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
that's on him. These other interceptions where they're hitting these guys in the
Yes.
chest
Yes.
or
I agree with that
hands
one. I agree.
and
Mm-hmm.
flying up and getting an interception, everybody wants to sit here and batch, come at Dak about these interceptions. Yeah, I
Mhm.
understand it falls on him because he's the quarterback, but you're a professional. If the ball touches your hand in any situation unless you're jumping where it's 10 feet above your head.
Right.
If it's right in your chest or mid area and you're capable of catching that ball, that falls on the receiver and not the quarterback.
I agree. During the game, Matt, we did text back and forth, and we said, like, what the hell is he supposed to do? Put it between his face mask and make the ball stick for him to catch
Literally.
it? I mean, that ball was right between the numbers. What more can you ask for? I mean, that's just a perfect spot for the ball. The one pick was definitely on, just like we said, triple coverage. That's on him. That's on Dak right there. We've seen that. We've seen that. But let me ask you guys real quick. I mean, listen, the running game, of course, Pollard was out. Malik Davis, he got a little garbage time in the second half, of course, but 10 carries, 39 yards. Zeke, 19 carries, 37 yards, 1.9 average. Are we feeling a little bit like weary here? Because, I mean, the Titans were banged up, man. 3 starters out, 2 linebackers plus a defensive lineman, and Zeke couldn't run the ball. Are we going to Kellen Moore on this one, or are we going more Zeke side or offensive line? Let me ask you.
Go ahead, Matt.
You're right now. I'm ready to go off. First off, it starts with the coach. The play calling has been terrible.
Agree.
And putting these guys in situations where you're running, when you got, a 6 front. Like, what are you doing running the ball, at that? And it's like, at the same time, Zeke, he runs sometimes not hard enough. And that's why Tony Pollard is in there taking over these carries and starting to become our number one running back. Without saying it, that he's our number one running back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the play calling, terrible. And if Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy, whoever the hell calls the plays these days, Jerry Jones, I don't give a shit who. If they call the plays like this in the playoffs, we are going to get destroyed.
Agree. Agree.
These playoffs. It's a different situation. We all know that.
Totally.
That's why we're a 1-and-out team. We play this basic ass football. Our teams Paul and our teams could run,
right,
or pick up on it on the defensive side of where the ball's going. It's like common sense plays, and you're already anticipating where the ball's going.
I mean, just like you say, man, every team has a tendency, and the Cowboys are the most
predictable.
Exactly, predictable. Like, man, we'll sit in the group chat, we'll sit, texting back and forth, and we're like, "Oh, look at this! They're going to run outside here." Well, finally, they'll run outside, and they'll run it, but it's only one play game. Going back to the Packers game, where our defensive front seven were smashing the middle with oh my God, Aaron Jones and the other back up there. I forgot what his name is, whoever it is.
AJ
Dillon. They were they couldn't run up the middle on us. What did they do? We talked about this. That little shovel toss, sweeps. Why does Dallas not do things like that? Everything we see is window dressing. How many times do we see Turbin coming in motion on a sweep? How many times do we see Lamb coming in motion? It's window dressing. Matt, you and I both coach. You set up the next play based on what the defense does the previous play. We don't see that, Matt. We never run outside. Why? With Pollard, why don't we run outside with Pollard? We run inside between the tackles. That's not what Pollard is. Pollard is a gashing outside the tackle, outside the box guy. Zeke is your fundamental punch up the middle. I understand he runs up the middle, but Kellen Moore, man, just like I said in the beginning of the year, he shows glimpses of that Wonder Boy bread boy. Okay, but now he's a $1.25 dollar store kid bread. Let's give them credit. I mean, that's because the dollar store went from $1 to $1.25. That's why I'm getting the $1.25 bread.
Right.
Put the extra quarter in there.
I'm giving the extra quarter. The government made me do it. I got to give the extra quarter. I mean, he's not even worthy of it, honestly. But I mean, looking at this game, we are going to get into the Commanders game in here. We have a special guest hopping in. He's a season ticket holder. He is behind enemy lines, but I'm going to tell you, the enemy lines down there is very, very smart because he actually has a lot of inside information that a lot of these even announcers and media guys don't even have, which he was on their back room talking to Dave and I as well. So we'll get into the same like that. But before we have him hop on, I want to ask you guys, to me, are we becoming more of a passing team or of our bread and butter running? What are we doing?
I think we're more passing lately. Dak's throwing the ball a lot, as we can see. But we know Dak loves his tight ends, so that's going to be that's his bread and butter. I think that's just me.
Well, Lamb 100 yards, Schultz 56, Hilton 50, Gallup 39. Mm-hmm. Then Noah Brown.
What do you expect us to go to our pass game, because our run game sucks?
Exactly.
We can't get anything going. What else? What other options do we have?
Is that the offensive line? I mean, seriously. I mean,
no, it's not the offensive line. The offensive line.
Okay, no. Is it not? But is Zeke not exploding hard enough to go into the hole? Is the hole there for him?
Here's the thing: our offensive line is playing. Okay, we're maneuvering lines. We lost Biasdz. Connor Williams steps in.
Right.
We our line. We can still run the ball. Any back. What is the difference between Zeke and Pollard? Okay, Pollard, he hits the hole with the flash. Zeke, he reminds me of Le'Veon Bell. With a good offensive line, he stays behind the line, waits, looks for the gap, and then hits it. You can't do this. You can't do this.
He never used to do that, though. That wasn't like him before.
Well, then that's on Zeke.
With Zeke has always done that, but it's to the point in the NFL right now that these guys that are coming out of college are fast, quick, and can move. You don't have time to sit here and wait behind these offensive linemen. You have to hit that hole as soon as possible.
Adam Glenn checks in. So much. Adam Glenn checks in. Looks like you have to beat Brady in the playoffs. Are you worried? We're going to get to that a little bit later in the show. But we're not going to talk about that yet, because there is a somewhat of a miracle that could happen. So we would have
could.
So we'll get into that a little bit later. Adam, I think I greatly appreciate you chopping in. But guys, listen, are we done talking about this Titans win? I know a winner is a win, but listen, I always called it a get right game. I think we added a couple more pages to the get right situation, didn't we?
I think the past couple of weeks we have been trying to say get right games. Besides the Eagles, that was a game we needed to win.
Of course.
But you would think coming off that win and the momentum we had, beating a team that was 12-1, 13-1, whatever they were.
Whatever they were. Yeah.
Regardless, a team like that has been beating up on teams.
Yeah.
You would think they would come into Tennessee and let them have it, but I don't know. Maybe it's like a basic. Maybe it's a basic play. Maybe they weren't expecting to be in the running for a first seed, so they basic down their play calling.
Could be. You
know what I mean? But at the same time, you see reports that they're not letting off the gas. Okay, well stop letting off the gas then with points.
I heard we're going
to put the points up and have our defense step the hell up.
But we are going full force on Sunday, from what I'm hearing.
Well, now you have to, with the game situation, the time being changed, which we'll talk about as well. But my thing is, Matt, we both coach, man. How many times do we sit there? My team went 10-1 this year. We lost because our idiot head coach didn't put in the travel package, but we still lost the last game of the season. But when you play down to a team, hell, I'm not going to lie, we were 8-1, 8-0 at the time. We played a team that was 0-7. You know what? My team went out there and they put a 50 burger on them. You put that foot down no matter who you play, man. I don't care what the record is, what they have on the field. You go in every week and you execute. You run. We coach the plays. They execute. It's a win situation. Dallas doesn't do that is what I'm seeing. They're struggling with who they're playing. That's what they're doing.
You have to put in consideration, I mean, you are playing professional players. You're not playing college athletes.
Yeah,
Dave, that makes it a little bit better, don't you think? I mean, these are all athletes who play all their lives.
These guys, we'll just put the Titans in this situation. These guys came to play, okay? They're playing for a job. They know, I mean, you can't take that out. You can't take that out of their hands.
Let me get a Paul.
All right, go ahead. Your shot. Go ahead.
I understand that to an extent, but what happens? We're a team that goes up 20 points against the Texans, against Green Bay, teams that we should have been. We shouldn't be in the situation we are. And
I agree.
Worrying about the Eagles if they win or lose for a first seed. We should have this division locked up. We're on the verge of wrapping up.
I'm with you, but I'm saying these guys are professionals too.
Yes, we understand, but we let off the gas every single time we are up by 2 touchdowns or more. And then it ends up coming that these teams come back inside this game where it's shit, we actually have to start playing again because we might lose this game if not.
Okay. I'm just saying. I'm not disagreeing with you by any stretch.
Dave, the
But I'm
last thing
saying-
I'm gonna, the last
For
thing
the
I'll say is
most-
before.
For the most part, we are a team that lets off the gas.
And we do, and we're known for that. I
Yes.
totally agree with that. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say one more thing about this game before we bring in our special guest, Steve. Dave, the Titans didn't play last week. They sat a lot of the starters wide because that game meant nothing that week for us, right?
And I understand
Well,
that.
that game meant a lot to us because we're still in procedure to get that number 1 seed.
And I
regardless
get
of what the Eagles did.
I get that too, but I'm still saying
what
you are
team-
playing professionals. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but okay, so what team? A team that's sitting at 12 and 11 and 4 at the time, right there,
Mhm.
versus a team that's whatever their record is, the Titans. Who cares what the record is? That game they sat everybody. They sat Henry. They sat Tannehill. They sat Willis. 8 starters didn't play that game on both sides of the ball. What team showed up? An average JV team that's a freshman team, or a legitimate varsity starting team that needed this game more than the freshman team? That freshman team came out and played and almost beat us.
Right, but the varsity team, like I said, they put their, they played back to their opponent. I understand that. But you have to give the JV team, they played to do a thing.
You're a varsity team. You play every damn snap like it's going to be your last play of the game.
I've seen JV teams back then beat varsity. I've seen it before. It's happened.
I've seen it a lot of times too. But listen, your thing is
all know it's any given Sunday,
right? If we are all three on varsity level,
or in this case Thursday, we get it.
If all three of us on varsity level, and we got that freshman team or that JV team sitting right behind us, if I'm playing QB and I have a 4-pick game and I look like crap. That JV starter's out there balling, throwing 500-yard 4 TDs. You know what he's thinking? Like, I'm going to get my shot.
I'm taking his job.
But there we go. Let's move on. Now we got a special.
Hold on. One thing before you go.
Oh man, here we go.
I just want to say though about last week, if Henry plays that game and just
we lose
that game.
I agree.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Our defense has taken a shit the past 4 weeks, and our defense needs to step up. I mean, we could be a defense that could win us a championship. We're a top 3 defense.
But are you taking into consideration we didn't have a Van Der Esch? I mean, that does help. You know what I'm saying?
Not really. Next man up.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't been playing well all season, what you're telling me, right?
No, it's next man up. We got great linebackers.
He can take a seat. Everybody else, we have majority of our defense.
Okay, but I'm saying Van Der Esch is a big part of our defense.
Of course
is he not?
Van Der Esch is a linebacker. What happened to our down lineman that can't stop a run?
Here's the last stat I'm going to give you before we begin, Steve. I'm going to definitely bring Steve on. He's been in the green room. He wants to bring that, commander power to us. So the last stat I'm going to give you: Tennessee rushing, 2 backups, third string and fourth string backups, Haskins and Ward, 16 carries, 66 yards, outrushed our starting running back.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you about the front 7 linebackers. Okay, you play down to your potential. Very simple. That's all it is.
A lot of teams do that, though.
Okay, but here we go. You know what? Let's bring in our special guest here, Steve Laughlin. How are you doing, my friend? Down in Washington, Commander Nation. How's it going down there, man?
Good, fellas. Great to be here tonight. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Steve, turn your phone around, bud. Sideways.
Oh, just started sideways. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
This is where I'm matching.
That's okay.
That's okay. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. All right, Steve. First, welcome to the show, man. We talk a lot on Facebook and Messenger, back and forth. Tell us about, yourself being I'm so used to saying the old school name. I slip so
say the right name for a change.
Yes, Dave. I'm sorry. I'm going to give respect to the Washington Commanders.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey,
talk to us about yourself.
For what it's worth, the other night, I want to say it was Sunday Night Football. One of the national broadcasts, one of the broadcasters actually let it slip.
Wow.
And read it twice in one sentence.
God.
Kind of unheard of nowadays, but it kind of is what it is.
Some professional they are.
As funny as this sounds, I'm actually born and raised in Southern PA, but I am a diehard Washington fan. Actually, season ticket holder as well. Mm-hmm. I actually live in the middle of 4 different markets between Pittsburgh, Philly, Baltimore, and DC. just because of growing up childhood connections, and just kind of gravitated more towards the DC side of things and stuck with it. Unfortunately, our last Super Bowl win was in 91. 91.
I was born.
I don't feel bad anymore.
That's right.
In fact, that was the year the Cowboys went 1-15, and you guys won the Super Bowl that year.
Right. So we'll throw in some little nuggets as we go along tonight. But since our last Super Bowl win against the Buffalo Bills, we have started 33 quarterbacks.
Wow.
In that time frame.
Wow.
33, which is absolutely mind-boggling, right? And which kind of brings us to the discussion of the current week and facing you in Dallas and the Cowboys is the quarterback carousel, right? So even in 3 years that Ron Rivera has been here in DC, we are with Sam Howell being named the starting quarterback after the second starting quarterback announcement this morning, which I'll allude to in a bit. Sam Howell now becomes the 8th starting quarterback for Ron Rivera in DC. Now, granted, a lot of that was given towards injuries. Alex Smith was on a roll. He was on a tear for us. I mean, we were poised to go, probably 11, 12 wins easy. Then he has the freak leg fracture, right? Colt McCoy comes in as a solid starter. Dude breaks his collarbone or shoulder or something like that, and then we start doing, the whole revolving door of, Josh Johnson and Sanchez and like all these other guys, right? So this year, I think they kind of realistically knew, hey, look, we don't have a solid QB1 in DC. We need a stopgap. Which is why they went out and got Wentz. If Wentz actually performs to Wentz's potential, then he remains QB1 for probably the next year, maybe 2.
Okay.
Wentz gets hurt, throw in Taylor Heineke, the fan favorite. No doubt about it, the fan favorite. Awesome dude. Had a chance to do a private autograph signing with him the week after the San Fran game. We typically don't try to talk sports too much with the guys we're doing signings with, but it's kind of inevitable, right? Especially with Taylor Heineke when we're doing his signing less than a mile away from the training complex. So, of course, it was kind of undecided, hey, look, are you starting this week against Cleveland? Is Wentz going to be coming back? Because Wentz has been eligible to come back for 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
They didn't even make it active. It kind of raises some red flags, right? Like, hey, you're paying $28 million to a dude. Why is he not even the backup? Because during the whole time that Heineke was starting, and even afterwards when Wentz came back, Howell was still listed as number 2 on the depth chart, with Carson being number 3. So, of course, some questions started gravitating that night. Hey, what's going on? Are you going to be named starter tomorrow? Yada, yada, yada. Taylor comes out and says, hey, I am not starting this week. So we kind of knew that about 12 to 18 hours before it broke to the DC media that he wasn't going to start. So then the next question, I didn't pose it to him, another person did, was, well, why aren't you starting? The most diplomatic answer that Taylor would give is, in straight, pretty much a direct quote, was, it's all political. So you kind of take that for what it's worth. Is that a Ron Rivera decision? Is that a Snyder meddling once again in the quarterback carousel room, saying, hey, look, I paid this dude $28 million. I want him on the field. Is it the other coaches? Is it Scott Turner? Is it Zampese? Saying, hey, we need to give Wentz a shot to look at next year. What are we doing? The only thing that I found disheartening was Taylor made the comment that he got some praise for the way he played against the Giants the week before, their second time around this year, not the tie, but the actual loss. He even made the comment that he thought some of the best games that he had played in the last couple of years was actually the second Giants game and the game before the first Giants game, the tie. Being a fan, I kind of wanted to look at him and be like, dude, are you serious? Like, I don't know. I don't think those were his best games, but, for him, he thought they were. His biggest frustration was he heard from the coaches right after that Giants loss, like a day or two. And then basically it was ghost town until he was told about the decision that he's not starting.
Mhm.
Now, he was given the decency of, being called into Rivera's office and saying, hey, look, we're going to go with Wentz. You're going to be QB2. But, there was no discussion from, like, the Wednesday before. He went through San Fran's game, got benched at halftime of San Fran's game. Wentz comes in and finishes San Fran's game. And then, there's basically no communication, according to Heineke, from, the coaching staff from San Fran to the time that he gets told, hey, you're not starting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, Heineke's thing is like, hey, look, man, I'm 30 years old. I'm an NFL quarterback. Just be transparent and honest with me. If I'm not starting, I can take it.
Right.
It sucks. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He was really bummed about it, but he's like, he's like, I'm a pro. I'm a grown man. He's like, that shit happened.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, Steve. Going into this week's game now, yes, you guys have already been eliminated. We already know that. Facts are facts. You guys are eliminated. Now, Dallas has now the game has been flexed. We'll talk about that in a second. It was 1 o'clock. We're flexed to 4 o'clock, which I kind of like because to me, I'm a fan of all teams. So I'll be watching 3 games going on at once. That Niners game, the Eagles game, the Cowboys game, of course. Because if the Eagles get on a roll, the Cowboys can actually lay off the pedal for a little bit, which we can watch. But going into this game here with Sam Howell, what are you expecting to happen during this game with the Cowboys? Because we are playing our starters right away. We know that. We have to.
So it's going to be one of two things, right? And I'd kind of like to think that it's going to be one of two ways. Either A, we're going to have a repeat with Sam Howell the way we played Tampa Bay 2 years ago when Heineke won it against Tom Brady with the dive. Because there's no film on the dude as a pro.
Right.
He doesn't really have any really true game day experience. He might be able to pull one off. Or, let's be honest, Dallas has still a pretty solid defense, right? I mean, let's be honest, the terror in the middle, number 11, he might just wreak havoc all over Hal. And, it's a done deal.
He's due for a good game, but go ahead.
Right. With Parsons in the middle, Lawrence up front, Diggs in the back, there's some really key matchups when I look at your defense that kind of gives me worry for Hal going in as a rookie, right? So I would imagine, I don't know how much man-to-man you guys are going to play, or if you're just going to roll zones over. But I would imagine that Diggs is probably going to be on McLaurin a lot. So Hal's number one receiver is probably not going to get open very much this week. So is he going to be able to make the reads and the checkdowns in a timely manner? Okay, look, McLaurin's covered. I got to go to Samuels. I got to go to Dotson. Is Logan Thomas, the tight end, going to be open in the middle? Well, it depends on what Parsons is doing. Is Parsons blitzing his ass off, or is he doing some good coverage across the middle? Along with your other backers, there's going to be a lot of processing for Hal in a short amount of time. And I can only hope that he's ready for that. And then of course the other big thing that's always a hit or miss, I can literally flip a coin. What offensive line are we going to get to show up this week?
Right.
Are we going to get one from week 7 to 12 where we were running the ball for 200 yards a game and giving Taylor 250 yards of passing a game? Are we going to get the one that showed up last week and the week before, that produces 5-6 sacks a game, a couple fumbles, hurried passes, batted balls, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So, I'd like to see how Hal does. It's definitely going to be an evaluation game for him. To me, what I saw in college when he played at Carolina, he's definitely kind of a pocket passer, kind of like Wentz was. He's got a decent arm. For a cannon. I'm not sure if his decision making is there completely.
Real quick, Steve, I'm a big college fan, and watching him play there, I think he has a rocket arm just like a Josh Allen down in Wyoming. I think he has that. But there's one downfall where he didn't go very high. He was actually performed as a first-round draft pick in many drafters' eyes. But the one thing he did lack was his lack of reading a progression tree. Finding that check down, finding that second receiver, always staring down your number one receiver, and he really didn't look at his progression tree. That's what a lot of people, the analysts, say took him down to where he was drafted at.
And that's the thing, right? So I mean, so a lot of Commanders fans are wondering, what is this guy? What is Howell's upside really? I mean, we drafted him in the 5th round. Is he really going to be our QB1 going into 2023? I don't know. I think one of the things that's going to help him out is we have a lot of guys that are going to be pending free agents that are going to be. I mean, granted, even though we're not playing for the postseason right now, these guys are probably going to go out and try to ball because they know that contracts are on the line.
Yeah, playing for jobs,
Right. So I mean, we kind of already know Payne is playing out of his socks this year. With a lot of sacks and rushes and just being a force. But we have a lot of other guys on defense and even on offense that aren't locked down into contracts or are looking for contract extensions. That may try and play, help out Howell in his production this Sunday.
Right.
I'm not sure. So
now, Steve, going into this game real quick, I'll let David and Matt go with real quick. But going into this game now on defense, now we talked about the offense off stage here, but Robinson is questionable, Gibson is questionable. That's your starting running backs right there, 1 and 2. But I want to switch to the defensive side. Chase Young's only in his 3rd game of the year, basically. Deron Payne, like you said, is balling out. Now you have Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. Just on the defensive line is questionable. Your strong middle linebacker, Jamin Davis, is questionable. Your starting safety is questionable, Curl. And Benjamin Jesus is questionable as well. I mean, I'm scared of this game, honestly, because this is the way the Titans came in last week. This is exactly how the Titans came in last week. I had to look down your depth chart. Who is this guy, whatever. Where's he bagging groceries the week before? That's exactly what I'm seeing happen this week. And I think the Cowboys, I'm scared because the unidentity of Sam Howell, there is no game film. You can't look at college game film versus an NFL squad. You can't do it. It's night and day. That's what scares me. And just like Matt says, we always preach this. You play down to your potential. If this happens, you know what? It could be the Heineke moment against Brady. Honestly, it really could.
And I think you're absolutely right because, I mean, just like you guys had with the Titans last week, I honestly feel that was us with the Browns. Like, we had every opportunity to beat the Browns last week, and we went out and laid the egg.
Yeah.
I mean, Amari Cooper had 3 catches for over 100 yards.
Right. And I mean, let's be honest. Wentz goes out, first drive, interception. Second drive, interception. It's like, come on, dude.
Lately we've been kind of used to that same pattern right there. A pick 6 right off the jump.
Like we are better than that. But
wait, after getting our pick 6, then he throws for 400 yards almost.
It is.
I guess it's good to get it out of your system on the first play of the game, right?
Yeah,
it is. But you're absolutely right. Like, our defense has always been.
Washington,
kind of like next man up, right?
Yeah, I've seen that. I followed him a couple times.
And this was kind of one of the things that drives fans crazy, because we don't win very much. Fans are so vocal and volatile. It's not funny in DC. Let's just be honest, right? But part of what drives the whole quarterback discussion is guys are like, people want to compare Heineke to Wentz. But one of the things that they fail to realize is we as a team got better when Heineke was actually playing as starters from 7 to League 13, right?
Yeah.
So in Carson's defense, our defense, which we're currently talking about, was in the bottom 5 of the NFL. During the time that Heineke was starting, Jack Del Rio took that group and turned them into a top 10 defense. Between rushing yards allowed, passing yards allowed, points scored. We're picking up sacks. We're actually getting a couple turnovers here and there. So it actually helps out. Our linebackers, I hate to say it, but I call it as it is. We've sucked all year, and that's been one of our biggest downfalls. We knew going into this season, linebackers was one of our biggest needs. And we did nothing in the draft. We did nothing in free agency to do anything to solidify that position. Luckily, and I feel comfortable saying this, but our front 4 to 5 are pretty much the only thing that has carried our defense through this.
I think you guys on paper are the only team in NFL history to have 4 first-rounders on your front four.
I would wholeheartedly believe that, but then here comes the hard decisions, right? So this Sunday is the last game for us of this season. We already signed Allen to a long-term contract, big money. Payne is going to be a free agent. Do we re-sign him to another big contract? So it's funny. I just read an article today that there's the potential for us to have 2 defensive tackles taking up close to $32 million of cap space for 2 defensive tackles. But then the problem is, it's like they're damn good. Like, do you really let Payne walk next year?
Right.
The option is, you can still franchise tag him. Then you're still going to be paying out the wazoo for him.
But let me ask you a quick one. I'm a big college fan, and the guy that's on IR, Mathis.
From Alabama.
He is nasty. Could he replace Payne? Watching him in college, listen, he's nasty. He could have been a projected first round going into the second round, though.
He really could. I know he did pretty well for the first couple games of the season before he got hurt. But he's a big boy out of Bama, just like Allen and all those other guys that we got. He was going to be a solid replacement for Ioannidis. I think Ioannidis went to Carolina. I think is where he ended up going.
Is that where he went? Okay,
I think so. Somewhere down there in the NFC South. So he was a solid replacement for that. But we have a lot of high production guys on defense that are setting themselves up. Props to them to be getting paid soon, right? Like I said, we just re-signed Allen. We got Payne that's going to be coming up. You got Montez Sweat that's going to be coming up the year after that. And then, of course, you got Chase Young after that.
That's right.
The fact that Cam Curl's playing out of his mind this year before he got hurt. And it's probably the best secondary guy we got, hands down. St. Juice is doing pretty good. Kind of a no-name guy that's come out of nowhere for us, but he's been doing pretty good in the secondary.
Right.
So I think if we can stay healthy, and kind of put all these pieces together, we're gonna be decent. The thing that kind of worries me, and it kind of, Paul and I were talking about this beforehand, is Dallas isn't really going to be resting anybody. Because this game actually matters to them. It doesn't matter to us, but it matters to you guys.
Sure.
So we're still going to be
that's a spoiler alert, though. They love playing spoiler alert.
But we're still going to be seeing your top guys on offense, for our defense,
I have a question. Now, if you're Taylor Heineke, okay, and from what Wentz did last weekend to really kill your prayers of making the playoffs, and we know he didn't play well. And then your coach says, okay, well, I want to go back to Heineke as my starter. Now, if you're Heineke, wouldn't you be like, you had your chance last week. I'm not playing for you anymore. I'm done. Why would I do that?
You could. I don't know how true it is, but it did come from a reliable insider, commander insider, within the media group. There was a tweet put out today. I don't remember who exactly it was. But allegedly, Heineke was one of the driving people to Ron Rivera in starting Howell this coming Sunday.
Really?
So, the tweet went something like, Ron conferred with coaches and team personnel about Howell. I guess at some point in time they're going to put Howell in maybe second half of the game or whatever.
Right. I heard that too. Right.
Basically start Heineke for a half.
They're going to start and then put Howell in for the second.
Basically, the narrative that I got was Heineke went to Ron. It was like, hey, look, we're out of the playoffs. There's not really anything to play for. If we're going to play the kid in the second half, just start him the entire game. I'll be your QB2, and if he really falters and, throws 3 picks in the first half and whatever, down by a lot, then you might see Heineke in the second half. But, the tweet that got put out in our area was, Heineke actually stood up and was like, hey, look, let's give this kid Howell a shot, see what he's got. The other thing that it's not really game related to, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't related. The game on Sunday, but it talks about long term, right? Heineke's a free agent. Is Heineke going to come back? We currently pay Heineke $2 or $3 million, something like that. Heineke's proved this year that he's a solid QB2, if not somebody's QB1 out there, right? Is it our QB1? I don't know. But one of the things that throws the biggest monkey wrench into this that people kind of don't really want to talk about yet is ownership, right? Okay. If Dan Snyder really goes through with selling the team, A, who's going to be the coach next year? And B, who's going to be the quarterback? You know?
Is he considering that? I mean, is that for sure? Or
so first round of sale offers were already submitted to the NFL. They got, I think it was 7 to 9 offers from different groups. Wow. You know, the big names, the Jeff Bezos group threw in one, Byron Allen threw one in.
I guess the out of the box team got outbid, huh? They didn't accept their offer, did they? Man,
yeah.
Darn it.
You know the John Henry.
Bummer.
John Henry put in an offer. Rouse Fenway Group put in an offer. And you know the rumor going around here, it only helps Dallas, right, in their value. But supposedly it's going to be somewhere in the $7 to $8 billion market for the.
Wow.
You know, and I'm like,
that's insane. That's insane.
If the Commanders are like 7 to 8 billion, well, shit, that's gonna make the Cowboys like 10.
Dallas might be like the first $20 billion team. Yeah. You know?
So what was the story? What was the story where I heard that the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them, they were going to move their stadium into Virginia? Is that true, or what was the deal with that?
So that's kind of the interesting storyline or subject right now. But back probably like the middle of the season, I guess maybe the beginning of the season. The team had actually purchased, I guess you could say, or is in line to purchase like 200 acres down in Woodbridge, Virginia. Like
that's what I heard.
South of Woodbridge, Virginia, which, in all honesty, as a fan, somebody who works in the DC metro area, that is about the worst place that you can put a football stadium. It's not easy to get to. There's no like mass transit to get to the stadium. It's a traffic nightmare going in and out for just on regular, weekends, let alone a game weekend.
Right.
But where they were kind of pushed into that position, right? So because of all the scandals, and you can count them on my hands, your hands, everybody's hands in this room right now. None of the local politicians want to work with Snyder. It's not so much working with the team to get a new stadium; it's because Snyder is still in the picture.
Right.
So the option to go back to DC to the old RFK site was one of the first ones to be viable, and then the scandal started hitting, right? So then DC's like, okay, well, we don't want to deal with you. Our old RFK is off the table. They were looking at either rebuilding right in Landover, where FedEx is now, or there's a chunk of land that's, I guess, technically like park property for the state of Maryland. And Governor Hogan was basically kind of working out some preliminary arrangements there. But, once again, scandals break, and they're like, we don't want to work with Snyder. Virginia was kind of even distancing themselves from going out around Ashburn, like Loudoun County area, which it really isn't that bad, but you're still a good half hour, 45 minutes away from DC, even out there. So I guess they were like, well, we need something. So they kind of put in this like land purchase agreement. Me, honestly, as a personal preference and fan, old RFK is where you need to go.
They should never left RFK.
Right. They can demolish RFK, build a new stadium, whether it's a dome or not, or something like SoFi, where it's still open but covered. I think one of the biggest things, and Snyder was always kind of trying to do this. The goal was always to bring the Super Bowl to the nation's capital, right? And there's kind of no reason why it shouldn't be in the rotation. Just the NFL would never bring it there because we're not a dome stadium. They were always worried about playing outside in January and February. But
they made it that far,
right? RFK was great. It was downtown. It's kind of easily accessible, right along the interstate. There's literally a metro stop like 2 to 3 blocks away. So if you're not tailgating, you can take the train, right to the stadium. You're there. FedEx isn't really that hard in and out.
Sometimes it depends.
Sometimes it is,
Because I've been there a few times. I've had a couple issues in that.
But like, the closest metro station's 25-minute walk.
Yeah.
Right. At night, who wants to do that? Not really. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. But
it's interesting how they have their parking, because they have like purple, red, different colors in their zone. And I'm like, you don't even know which one to go into, because like some of it's like RV, like private, or
Yeah.
I get confused every time I go down there. I have
Dave, you get confused for everything, Dave.
No, I'm saying I usually go to the red zone where they normally park, which is pretty good. But like I said, it's just they have different colors. I'm like, where do I go?
Right.
So I'm kind of excited to see what happens on Sunday against you guys.
Well, speaking of that, I'm gonna ask you something real quick before we let you go. We got about 10 minutes here before we lay out here. My question to you is two quick answers I want to hear from you, Steve. Okay, from a Washington Commander. Let's put it this way: a Washington Skins fan, the Hogs fan, to the Commanders. You've been there from day one. My question to you, the first question I have for you is this: how do you feel about the Sean Taylor tribute?
So, so it depends on which one, right?
Let's go with the first one: the Adidas, the Nike, and not even close to representing them. Put it that way. That one there.
Well, not even that. So I'm going to go back to the first one of the street sign. When they did that, and the debacle in front of the Porta Johns, right? At least throw a sheet up, a backdrop, something, that when you unveil that street sign, it just doesn't happen to be in front of a row of porta pots, right? Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Okay. Number two, right? Let's go down to the I think the more it came out afterwards, the memorial, I'll use that as opposed to statue, yes. Right? Because I'll address the statue issue in a second here. The memorial was actually designed by Sean Taylor's daughter. The way it was executed probably wasn't the greatest, which kind of goes in line with everything else that the Commanders have done, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of botched the road unveiling. We kind of botched. Let's be honest. We botched the freaking mascot this past weekend.
That was my next question.
Like you name it, one right after the other. But the way the team was putting it out was, and I'll be honest, in the emails I got as a season ticket holder, and what you see online and on the app and stuff like that, was statue, Sean Taylor statue.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard.
You're right. So as a fan, when I think of that, I'm thinking of the Ray Lewis statue in Baltimore. You go
iconic. You look at Michael Jordan.
Right.
Like
the Jordan,
and even Dirk Nowitzki got his fadeaway step back. Like, what the hell is this?
Right.
Steve's so frustrated. He lost his camera.
Camera.
Yeah, so like I'm thinking statue, bronze, gold, something, and then they have this wire frame, yes. And that doesn't even address the uniform, that was on that fellas.
We know you're getting frustrated. Listen, it happens to Cowboys fans for 26 years here. We know how you feel. Okay?
So let's say they're going to use that platform of the wire frame that the Taylor family came up with. To me, I would think that somewhere, either in a box at Ashburn or some collector that you want to pay for, is an entire game-used uniform of Sean Taylor, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere. I mean, the dude played for 3.5 years. There's enough game-worn stuff out there that you could literally put an entire game-worn uniform together on the wire that the Taylor family designed or wanted to come up with. So that's kind of what I was expecting. And then it kind of goes back to what Paul was saying now. Then you got Nike, you got Adidas, you got Reebok stuff, like all mixed and matched. And it's
to me, I Steve, on Twitter, I think I called it the worst tribute statue I've ever seen in my life to a legend and an icon who Daniel Snyder's went to the Goodwill store and picked what the clearance rack had available. That's what I on Twitter. Mm-hmm.
I think this is me from a business marketing perspective. I think the Commanders have such an opportunity to do everything right, yet they continue to do everything wrong. Okay, so like the Sean Taylor Street tribute, the Sean Taylor Memorial statue, whatever. The Hogs reunion, the mascot, the 90th anniversary when they did the extra 10 guys for the 90th greatest Redskins Commanders, when they announced the extra 10 names going into the Ring of Honor. They put all that stuff together literally like 2 to 3 weeks before it happens. You know, like we're not getting emails as season ticket holders or even fans until literally like 2 weeks out.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
Like when they did the Sean Taylor thing, they should have blasted that out like 2 months in advance. You know, hey, look, on this game date against this team, you know, at 1 p.m., we're doing a Sean Taylor tribute. You know, they're literally pushing that out like 2 weeks before it happens.
Right.
You know, and they do that with everything. And it's like, you know, don't keep it a secret. Like, make this your marketing, you know, whatever. You know, and then in typical DC fashion, I think I'll address your second question of the mascot, right? Then you have the whole debacle between the mascot, Commander Tutty. Yeah.
What is that?
I'll tell you. So,
Steve, I remember when that came out. I sent it to you in the message.
So here's the
explain
deal.
to me what the F this is.
So I'll call it like
is it a touchdown, Toddy? Like touchdown? Is that what I mean?
Steve, he explained it to me, and I was like, okay, I understand a little bit of this now.
So it's supposed to be one of the things when they rebranded the Commanders was they were always trying to tie the present and the future Commanders to the past to keep all of those old diehard Redskins fans involved, energetic, you know, still being DC fans, right? So one of the ways that they, I guess, figured they'd do that is when they came out with the mascot choices, it was either the pig or like a German Shepherd, right? And of course, naturally, everybody's like, let's go with the pig. It's the Hogs from the 1980s and the early 90s when we won our 3 Super Bowls. And like our team was known for the Hogs, right? So then, excuse me, so then they didn't see it until like a day before on social media. You know, they're like, hey, tomorrow we're releasing, you know, basically a glorified version of Porky Pig in a Commander's uniform. But I mean, that's literally what it is. But his name is Major Tutty, which is Tutty is actually supposed to be short for touchdowns.
That's all I thought.
What is the way the team is putting it out. But some people are actually, you know, like because we're Commanders, you know, it's kind of like more paramilitary-ish. Like his name should have been Major Tutty, you know, or like Major Touchdown or something. And then you throw in the whole debacle of the original Hogs and their lawsuit with the team and the trademark and all that bullshit, you know, over this weekend. And it's just another black cloud after another black cloud of debacles.
So in other words, you're not happy about this, are you?
No, you know, and it kind of goes back to just like the whole renaming and rebranding. You know, a lot of the fans never even wanted the name Commanders to begin with.
Right.
What did you want, or did you have a name?
And honestly, I'll be honest, I was on the Red Wolves bandwagon.
Okay.
You know, I think you could have some pretty cool logos. You could have a cool mascot. You could have, you know, some cool branding and in-game, you know, stuff going on with the Red Wolves. I don't think I'd be howling after every touchdown, but you know, hey, whatever.
I was actually used to the Washington football team. I was getting used to that, to be honest with you.
I was too, in all honesty, you know, but from an owner standpoint, like I honestly see why they had to rebrand it, go through a process to rebrand it. You know, you kind of tout the name change. Okay, they kind of always knew that Washington football team was going to be temporary. Okay, so let's sell all that stuff. In a lot of cases, some people didn't even buy Washington football team stuff because they knew that it was going to be, you know, another name. Which, you know, from a marketing standpoint and owner, like I'm going to cash in on those millions, you know, by coming up with a permanent name other than Washington football team. But yeah, I mean, I kind of liked Washington football team. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I didn't think it was that bad.
And even the Commanders, like I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it. There were definitely a lot worse teams on the names on the list than Commanders. There were a couple better teams, Red Wolves, Red Tails, stuff like that, but let's be honest, like some of the names, like there were admirals on there. There were the monuments. There were generals. There was all kinds of goofy names. And I'm like, we could have got stuck with one of them.
Yeah.
As opposed to commanders.
Well, wasn't there a USFL team that was the generals too? So, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Well, Steve, before we let you get out of here, I want to get what we usually do final predictions at the very end for this game. But what, this week in honor of you, your Skins, Commanders, Red Wolves, whatever the hell you want to call them, Commander Tutty, mascot,
Red Tails. Come on, get it
whatever they are, whoever the hell they are. Okay, I just don't want to call them one word this week. Spoilers. I don't want to call them that this week. Okay,
that's the one word we don't want.
You know what, Steve? How about we go around the room real quick before I let you go? Give us your final prediction of this game here. What you see is going to happen. The final score of the game. What do you see?
So real quick, I'll give you a couple little nuggets as you guys think about your final predictions. This is actually, and I think it's a good idea that the NFL is coming back to this. This is actually going to be Washington's 13th consecutive season where we finish with a divisional game. Mm-hmm. There for a while, like 2 or 3 years ago, we had a non-divisional game as like our last 1 or 2 or 2 out of 3, and I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. Your last 3 games, whether they're home or away, should be divisional games.
I think that.
The word I use is meaningful games. Yes.
Right. Beautiful run up to playoff contention, implications, whatever you want to have at it, especially division, who might be battling for the division. But however, as much as I hate to admit this, Washington is 30-34 against the Cowboys at home.
Yes.
So you guys actually have that slight edge against us at home in Maryland. And this is the first time that we have actually hosted Dallas since 2004 as our season finale. I guess usually we end it, and now that I think about it off the top of my head, we usually end with the Giants for some reason. I think one year they even throw us a Philly bone in there. And actually, I thought it was more recent, but this is actually the last time we beat the Cowboys was November of 2020. So it's been 2.5, almost 3 years since we've beaten the Dallas Cowboys. As much as I hate to say it, we're not going to beat you guys on Sunday either.
Was that the game where we missed a field goal because they pushed us back and you guys ended up winning?
I think so.
Because they caught offside. Yes. Yeah. I was there. But go ahead.
And then the field goal ended up making it. So
I remember that.
I just think there's too many unknowns on our offensive side, not really because of our offensive weapons, but because of the quarterback, right? And I think that our defense isn't going to match up as much as I'd like it to. I think our run stopping is going to be probably one of the keys. I think we can do that. And we did that fairly well in the first game with you guys this year, holding Zeke and Pollard to a respectable number. We know you're going to get some yards, but it's all about, trying to keep you under that 100, 150 number, but in all honesty, man, I see this being like a, I hate to say it, but it's going to be like a 34-17 type deal.
So you got 34-17?
Yeah, and, I'd like to think that Hal's going to be able to get at least 1, maybe 2 touchdowns. Hal might even only be able to pass for 1 touchdown and Robinson run for 1 or something like that. And then you throw, and then throw Joey Sly in for a field goal here and there.
How's he been this year?
Who's that? Sly?
Sly, yeah.
He's been pretty good.
Because I'm big on kickers. I'm a kicker guy. I don't know why.
Oh, my God, Dave.
People have been jumping on him because he missed a couple key kicks in certain games throughout the year. But I remember the one game, I don't remember the opponent. People were jumping on him so bad because he missed like a 51-yard field goal or something, right? Late in the game. And my response on social media was, kickers aren't going to make 100% of their kicks, okay?
Right.
And 2, up until that point, when he missed that like 51-yarder, Sly already made a 48, a 42, and a 53-yarder in that game.
Wow.
The dude is not going to go 4 for 4 over 45 yards in a game. You know what I mean? So he's going to miss one of them. He just happened to miss the one that we needed, right? But yeah,
We know a lot
been
about
pretty
that
good.
stuff.
Yeah, we do.
All
right.
Yes, we do.
With one last little nugget with Howell being quarterback. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of 3-and-outs or stalled drives. I call him our team MVP. It's going to come down to Tressway and his left-handed boot. If he can pin you guys, deep within the 20, it might give us a fighting chance. It's all going to be about field position, but unfortunately, I see you guys scoring a decent amount of points. So I'll get back to the 34-17.
All right, so we got you at 34. We got you at 34-17. All right.
Yeah.
So Steve, maybe after this week we'll get you hot back on for a little bit next week, and we can talk about this ass kicking we're about to put on you. Hopefully. So Steve, but listen,
Matt's shaking his head like, I'm watching Matt like, yeah, okay.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I'm already on the hockey season. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Steve, real quick, I know where to find you at, brother, but where can all my viewers out there find you at personally?
So actually, I'm actually been in talks with Paul that we're probably going to be starting hopefully a DC program here soon. Maybe I guess we are in the new year already. I was going to say after the new year, but we're kind of there. So some things have kind of opened up here recently that we had talked about it before. Timing was just kind of a little off for me on a personal level. But I feel that things are kind of lining up again that we can get that thing rolling. So we'll actually have a program for each of the NFC East.
And that's real quick, Steve. That's why we always tell you guys out there to hit that subscribe button on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Because you know what, Steve just let it out of the bag. I've been working on this for a while, working with Steve almost a year now, and it's finally happening for the upcoming season. So that's why we always say stay tuned. Because you never
trust me, there will be enough off-season topics for me to cover for DC. Most teams can kind of skate through the off-season with not a whole lot going on.
That's like us. We don't do shit.
Not at all.
Between
trying to find topics.
Oh yeah, between free agency and drafting and new ownership and stadium issues and what other branding blubs we can come up with in DC, there will be enough to talk about.
Definitely.
Real quick before you go, do you think your owner is actually going to be the owner of the team next year?
No. The only reason I say that, and some people are like, is he really serious about selling? I honestly think that if he were going to have second guesses or not true or kind of back out from selling the team, they would not have, the NFL would not have gone through first round bidding with billionaire groups only to be like, oh, sorry, we're not selling the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I, unfortunately, good, bad, or indifferent for how you feel about Snyder, I think he realizes he's at a point with the NFL and the other owners that backing out from selling the team is not an option now. There's just another scandal after another scandal. I mean, he's still being investigated by all three states' attorney generals in the DMV. DC just released their report or whatever like 2 weeks ago. It was like 300 pages long or something. I read like the first 20 and I was like, whatever. But yeah, it's so crazy. One last thing before I jump off with you fellas. We all saw what happened Monday night.
Yes.
Such a traumatic event with Hamlin. Man, I'll be honest with you, I was actually semi in that position like 30 years, well, I guess 20 years ago. As a high school athlete, had a spinal scare myself. Where I was on the field completely paralyzed for a day and a half, 2 days. So seeing what happened to him kind of brought me right back to my junior year of high school. Prayers for that young man up there in Buffalo. Actually, I guess he's still in Cincinnati right now.
Yeah.
But as reports come out, it seems like things are slowly
but surely.
Small progressions.
Yes.
Small progressions. And I think what everybody's doing is great. And we got to keep him in the thoughts and prayers, obviously. For those of you watching that don't know, the young man's got a Chasing M's Foundation.
Yeah, we're actually going to be linking that to our page.
Is that for toys, right?
Yes.
Isn't that a toys thing?
So he started it on a whim to collect toys toys for underprivileged kids. His goal was to get $2,500 so he could get kids in Pittsburgh area where he went to school and he's home from a bunch of toys. Last night, as of 5 p.m. last night, that GoFundMe was over $5 million.
Wow.
Which is huge. Which is huge in and of itself. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick as a last sentiment.
Sure.
Definitely.
And it was great to be on with you guys and talk some football. Love doing it. I could stay here all night. And my wife jumping in the corner. Hey, dinner's ready.
I love to do that too, Steve. But tonight, I have another show. I have another show in about 15 minutes. We're having a college show. But listen, man, you already let the teaser out of there. You'll be hopping on the network in the future here, giving us the Commander's view of everything going on weekly. And now we have the NFC East showcase show coming up soon as well. So we'll be looking forward to that.
I'll be happy to get you guys on twice a year, maybe even more.
There we go.
We face you guys twice each season to kind of banter back and forth.
Definitely.
And some good-hearted rivalry.
Definitely.
And see what happens, fellas.
All right, Steve. Hey, listen, from myself, Paul, Cowboy Dave, TOP, Matt Klein, and all of us at Out of the Box, man, we appreciate you hopping on, brother. Good luck this week, and I'll be calling you sometime this week, and we can talk about what's going on in the future, brother.
Yeah, Bird. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Take care, Steve.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. All right, gentlemen, there we go. We got a little Commander's view of everything going on there. But listen, we got about 15 minutes here. Let's move on real quick. Let's talk about one release we just had. James Washington's release. What does this mean? I mean, listen, he was paid $1.4 million. I don't give a damn. That's chump change for a guy that only caught thrown 2 times, dropped 2 balls. Listen, did you see this coming or not?
Oh, I've seen it. I mean, getting T.Y. Hilton, someone's going to have to drop off the chart. And James Washington, unfortunately, was coming off an injury. It is what it is. I mean, we have to literally sit here and worry about our playoffs and try not being a one and done team in the playoffs. Right. We got to do what's best for our organization, and I think that's the best move. You know what I mean? Previous years, I would have said Noah Brown, but Noah Brown has been doing his thing this year.
Noah Brown's been doing his thing.
He's showed up to on plays besides. Was it him for the interception? We won't get into that. No. But anyway,
I agree. I think
that would be the only other of dropping, which he's been doing his thing this year. So why drop him?
I agree 100%. I just want to touch base. What do you got, Dave, on that one real quick?
Before we go there, I had high expectations for James Washington before the season started.
We all did. I think we all did.
Right, and I think we all did. I think it was a good move at the time. We all thought, hey, can't hurt. What's another receiver? Just add to the mix. But he was injured a lot. He got injured preseason, I believe it was like a preseason game. Is that what it was? I thought maybe after the injury he'd come back strong, but just things didn't work out. Things happen. Do I think they might bring him back? You never know. I mean, I'm not saying they will, but they could.
If somebody doesn't pick him up off of waivers, I think they'll probably sign him to the practice squad to keep his
right, exactly. I'm not knocking that out by any stretch. So
this to me was a roster move. You had to going into the playoffs here. You know what your key downfalls are, and this was a roster move. Our secondary is kind of backed up right now, and our O line, of course, which that's going to be the next topic, real quick. I would like to talk about the O line. Last week we had a scare with Tyler Biasdz. Yes, he's only out 2 weeks. He's definitely out this week. But now this week, we're going to start our starters, which is good, but we're looking at our offensive starters being a totally different set on offensive line here. We're going from left tackle. We're looking at Jason Peters being our starting left tackle.
Okay. They took him off the right side?
Yep. Okay. Now, left tackle, Jason Peters. Okay. Left guard, Tyler Smith. Connor Williams starts at guard. Zach Martin. Tyron Smith at right tackle. You're switching positions. Everybody's switching except for Zach Martin. How do you guys feel about this? You guys like this O-line movement or not? I mean, we have to, but how do you guys, if we go into playoffs like this and Biasdz is not ready, my 2 questions for you. Can Tyron Smith stay healthy? Can Jason Peters stay healthy on that blind side?
That's the key.
Matt, you're already going there, Matt. Go ahead.
He's playing with his beard, so
I want to listen to Cowboy Dave what he was about to say.
No, I said that's the key. You have to keep Peters and Smith healthy. If they're not healthy, we're in trouble. big time. And you guys know that. I shouldn't have to say that. But I think Tyler will be back, which I keep hearing good things. That actually he was actually out of the boot, I believe.
He's out of the boot. He's out of the boot, not practicing, walking around. Yeah,
walking around, and that's actually a good sign. And we're definitely going to need him for the playoffs. So, to me, go with what we got. Let's hope it works out, and then playoff time will change. We'll see what happens.
I like you saying, just go with what we got, Dave.
I mean, there's other one you can do. I mean, you have to go with what you got, right? I mean,
you can play the different advantages and strengths, Dave.
You can. I'm saying, you guys know what I mean. But go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Matt. Get him.
Get me, Matt. You've got me all show anyway. What's the matter?
It's all love, Cowboy Dave.
It's all love. Okay.
No, here's my thing.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is right now, but
right. That's my point.
Since Tyrone Smith has came back playing right tackle, our offense has been, it's been good, but could be better.
Yeah.
So, I think I would rather have Tyrone Smith back at his left position.
Yes.
Put Jason Peters next to him.
Yes.
Then you have your, Connor
Williams
is biased, whatever. And then you have Zach Martin, and then you go Tyler Smith at the other tackle.
Tyrone Smith over there, right?
Tyrone at the left.
Okay.
Or you switch Peters. You put Peters over there and keep Tyler the same.
Well, wasn't Peters on the right side at one point?
He's played with the Cowboys. He's played left tackle, left guard, and right tackle.
Okay.
Right.
But the best position he's at is left guard next to Tyler Smith. I don't ever recall Jason Peters, and after his years with the Eagles, having so many pancake blocks. He pancaked. He ate.
Yeah. And it's like, I think this is a game, Washington, where you have to experiment sometimes on this line.
Yes.
Move your offensive line around a little bit.
Find
Since you're missing Tyler Biasdz right now, you have to. You have to try finding what's best. Because if we don't have Tyler next week or whatever playoffs, right? That's next week. Maybe not. But anyway, if we do play next week and he's not playing, we have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I don't. It's not that I think our offense has been playing way better than we thought that we were going to be playing this season. But
we're putting up 28, 30 points a game. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, but I think that our offensive line can be better with who we have.
Great.
So being healthy with a healthy Jason Peters, a healthy Tyler Smith, a healthy Zach Martin, a healthy Tyrone Smith, a healthy Tyler, and a Connor Williams, we have a rotation where we could be really good.
You could be 7 deep at times on this offensive line in different positions, because we know we have Biasdz and Williams can play center. We know Zach is stable at right tackle, right guard. And then you have 3 players, Tyler Smith, Tyrone Smith, Jason Peters, interchangeable. And that's what I love about this team right now. But, guys, before we get into it, let me get your final predictions, because we got to get out here. We have another show starting in 15 minutes. What is your final predictions real quick? Dave, look, you haven't got us wrong last. We're going to roll with you again. We're going to roll with you, Dave. So what do you got?
I'm going to say Cowboys 28, Washington 13.
28-13, okay.
I guess fair.
28-13. Matt, where are you going?
Yeah. I can't wait to hear this.
Cowboys are going to win, but
I hope so.
Cowboys 37.
Oh my God.
Washington 34.
High scoring.
What?
I'm sort of on Matt's level here, because I've seen Howell play in college. He's a gunslinger. He's a pocket QB. We haven't got a pass rush lately. Okay, into that fourth quarter, basically.
Our defense gave up 34 points on this team.
Listen, I'm gonna go. Man, I hate to say this, really. Too.
I'm not saying that.
I'm gonna go 34-29. I think it's gonna be high scoring as well.
Why do you guys think? I don't understand.
Because our defense hasn't shown up.
We have no pass rush.
We're giving up
Howell sits in the pocket, and Howell sits in the pocket, and he can beat you with his arm. This guy, listen, he's playing for a starting job. They already benched Heineke. Wentz is long gone. You're playing this game, one game, a play-in game for a contract and a starting job next year. Because if you play great, you know damn well the fans are behind you, the coaches are behind you. We found our QB. We wanted to sit him 2 years, just like Steve said. Let Heineke play for 2 years. Let him sit. This is his make or break game here. Listen, this is his game.
Literally, and don't let him score on the first drive. Or if they're opening drive, they come down and score. Oh God,
momentum.
It's going to be flip flops. We will lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, Matt, I put this up real quick. Prove me wrong. We are 12-4 right now. There is 4 games left. If those 4 games get capitalized, we're going to find something to put in there. That means we are going to be celebrating the quest for 6 if all gets capitalized.
Means we'll be buying our tickets.
Yes, you're damn right we are.
But I mean, listen, we can have a
one game at a time, guys. One game at a time.
That's why we say it. Yeah, that's why we say it.
And there's a lot of situations for this week where our seating could be.
It could be 2. It could be
Let's just talk about it because last year our seeding we screwed ourselves.
We were the 1 seed, weren't we?
No, not last year.
No, last year.
Oh no, sorry.
Last time we were 1 seed, we got.
We won. I know we won the division last year. That's what I'm saying.
We're probably the only team in NFL history that went 1 and done as a first seed.
We were 4 seed. That's right. We were a 4 seed. And we lost.
So
right.
We spanked the Philadelphia Eagles 6th string, and what was it like 52-10 or something?
Something like stupid like that. Yeah.
Regardless, I was at that game too.
I was too.
I think that's right. But them right, got ourselves up to higher seed, and we had to go against the San Fran 49ers.
Who took over the stadium? Who took over the entire stadium?
We ran out of time. You guys remember?
I don't want to hear about that, Dave. I don't care about that. Right. That was bullshit. Fundamental freaking football.
Listen, do we play Tom Brady or if we – I mean, how do you guys feel about getting the first seed coming off a bye? Who do we play? We might play – I mean, let's just put it this way. 5th seed, we're going to be playing Tom Brady.
I'd rather play Brady.
Absolutely. I do too. But Tom Brady just threw for 400
That's what I'm saying. He got hot last week.
Here's the scenario, okay? I think that Matt and I discussed this earlier. I think the hottest teams real quick going into the playoffs are the Niners and the Packers to me right now.
Yep.
Well, Packers got to get in. They got to win to get in.
They're going to win this week. I'll tell you right now.
You think so? You're just counting Detroit out just like that.
No, I'm not counting them out. The way the Packers
obviously you are. You're just telling me they're going to win.
No, I say, listen, I go week to week like we said, but the Packers are playing ball right now.
Right now they're balling. I'm not saying they're not.
The only reason we're counting them Detroit is because how Aaron Rodgers and Watson are playing right now, and their defense is playing right now.
They're running game as well. Yep.
Well, Detroit's been playing well too.
No, I absolutely, but I think Aaron Rodgers has just more experience in the situation right now, and I think they beat Detroit.
You can't take Goff out of the equation. I mean, Goff's been playing well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just saying.
No, absolutely. And they have momentum too because
Swift's been running the ball well there. They've been doing their thing.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to apologize to all our viewers out there. I didn't get to read the comments on there. The comment thing was blocked for some reason. So I'll be answering the ones in the chat as long as, guys, I want you to watch replay the video, answer whoever answered out there. We had to have one question out there from Sean, which we don't have time to get into tonight. What's up, guys? With Parsons hand saw it wrapped up. If you guys can chime in, off the show there and answer his question, I appreciate it. But real quick before we get into final thoughts, real quick. Last way here, no way Aaron Rodgers losing. I agree with you 100%, Shane. I agree with that. The way he's playing right now, offense, defensively, they're stepping up.
100%.
100% agree with it. You get hot the right time.
Isn't Detroit playing for a playoff spot too?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
but they need help. They need help, though. They need other teams to lose as well, too.
You literally have to realize that it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care who he has on his squad right now.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers is he's Aaron Rodgers. Anything
I get it.
Aaron Rodgers.
I get it. But I'm just saying. All I'm saying is Detroit's playing well.
Dave, real quick. Here's the thing. Okay, the Packers win, they're in, right?
Yep.
Okay. Here's the thing. They play at 8:00, right?
I believe it's
8 o'clock.
8:30. Yeah.
Seattle is the only team that can overtake them. Okay, they win. Seattle gets in as well.
Okay, I think Seattle needs help, doesn't it?
They need help. They need the Packers. Okay, if they win, they can automatically knock out the Packers if they win this game. Okay, they play early. Okay.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Because Green Bay has to win in the red. That's just the way it goes.
I understand it, but listen, this is what I'm getting at. If Seattle plays and they win, okay,
okay,
Packers are going to come out like freaking crazy, okay, to win the game number one,
right?
Get that, guarantee that spot, okay. That's what they're going to do. But you cannot count the Packers out. I mean, listen.
I'm not counting Green Bay. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is Detroit's playing well.
Exactly. Capitalize the letters. Aaron freaking relax Rodgers. Okay, it's going to happen. It's a guaranteed win. Dave, I bet a lot. I guarantee this. I will post my ticket in the group chat. I'll bet 500 this week the Packers win.
Okay. Do you think? I'm not saying they're not going to. I'm just all I'm saying is Detroit's playing well.
Guys, real quick before we get out of here, my next show starts in 5 minutes. Real quick, take a look at our video. We'll be right back to give you our final thoughts. Real quick. All right, real quick, guys. Usually we take about 2 or 3 minutes to vent here. Dave, you go first, as always.
I don't go first.
Because, Dave, you're the bottom down there, and so you're going first, okay? Very simple, okay?
That's fine.
We've been winning, so don't freaking knock it, Dave, okay? You're going first, damn it, okay? Dave, 30 seconds. Give me your final thoughts.
Come out strong. Know that up. You know you're playing for a division. If you're playing for something, which means a lot. I want to see offense roll. That's all I want to see. I want to see running back do your thing. Offensive line, let's block. And let's have a good game. 28-13, Cowboys. Let's go.
Okay. Matt, give me 30 seconds out there, brother.
I'm going to go complete opposite from what he said. I need the defense to step up today. I need pressure on Howell, whatever his name is, Sam Schmo. I don't know. I need pressure on him. I need some sacks. I need some reassurance that we're a playoff team here going into playoff week. We need to stop them. Offense keep rolling, get these points on the board, and defense needs to come up strong and finish off strong.
I agree. I'm going to stay on Matt's level real quick. I don't. The offense is fine. The offense has been scoring 33 points a game for me right now. The problem is the defense. We went from the number 1 defensive ranked team down to number 4 in the matter of the last 4 weeks. No pressure. Basically, we've been picks, but I want to see some defensive front pressure. When we get into playoffs, Bucks, Eagles, Niners, Packers, Vikings, those are top teams. We need to play Cowboy defense, and defense is what has been holding me down. Giving up 30, giving up 40 points basically a week. I need to see a little bit more from the defense. That's my final thoughts. And number 1, stay healthy. But Listen, guys, before we get out of here real quick, let's take about 10 seconds here to pray for Damar Hamlin out there. Listen, we're all football fans, and even what Steve said, he had an injury, a spinal injury is going on. We all play football. You know, we've seen these injuries before. You guys know this season I had one of my players, Timmy, who had a concussion in practice, laid out in the hospital for a week and a half. I spent 24 hours with him. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And just imagine for this guy, what his family, the fraternity of players are going through as well. So, listen, out of the box here, we pray for you, Damar. Hamlin Island, we're behind you, man. Get well. Please, God has him in your hands. So we pray for you, brother, from here out of the box, man.
I love praying.
Definitely.
Yes. Prayers to you and your family, Damar, and hope you come out of this, come out of it,
Definitely. For myself, Paul Spencer, the TOP and Matt Klein, Dave Yarnell, Cowboy Dave, we will see you next week after we win this game, and hopefully there's a miracle happening that we get the number 1 seed. So let's keep the faith rolling, and we'll be back next week, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. to discuss the victory. See you guys next week.
Go
How
boys.
about them Cowboys?
Go
Yes,
boys,
sir.
baby.
Yes, sir.